7 major problems with hybrid and remote working.
You're building relational capital. That's a lot easier to do when you're face-to-face, right?
But the fact that people get a lot more socially isolated.
There's actually a lot of productivity in being able to meet people online.
One of the big problems is around new hires. Here we are again. What we got? What you got? What you got for me? Go on, wake me up. Get me going.
Get me going.
Yeah.
Big weekend. Number of fronts this weekend.
Oh, have you? Busy weekend?
Busy weekend.
This is Friday. We're recording.
Friday morning, yeah.
Weekend is looming.
Double bill this week as well, haven't we? We've done 2 podcasts this week.
We've done 2 this week.
Squeezing them in amongst everything else. I think, because of my celebrity status now.
What, the Richard Buckle?
Because, I'm very famous amongst year 8 at my son's school.
You're a legend in your own lunchtime.
Richard Buckle in the third person. No, I've been invited to an exclusive opening launch.
A launch event?
The Shrewsbury Museum.
Will we have
cafe.
famous people there? Is Elton John coming? Or have you got...
Well, I'm only going because there's free
food.
Free canapes. So I'm saving myself up all day.
I didn't realise you were on the A-list.
Well, Mrs. Buckle works there, so
you're a guest of someone.
I'm a guest.
I'm a
plus one and another pair of hands to help out, I think.
But it's a launch event. That takes a bit of planning, doesn't it? Have you been looking at the planning of it and thinking, oh, I wouldn't do it like that?
I've had a couple of views, yeah.
Really? You surprised me. Richard Buckle has a view
on how other people should do things.
Shock horror, yeah. And he's prepared to tell them.
So yeah. And I think my on that note as well, my friend's planning to propose.
Not in the cafe.
Not in the cafe.
That would be weird.
That would be kind of weird. No, he's whisking his good lady away somewhere. But again,
is it a surprise? You can't say.
I think
they
kind of know it will happen. Well, hopefully she says yes. I mean,
it'd be a downer, wouldn't it?
Could be a
bit. Be able to come on a future podcast and report back.
I've been preparing him for, I think he's got it in the bag.
Is he doing the one knee thing?
Well, I've given him some suggestions.
Again, surprise.
Full kind of.
You'd go for fancy dress or something if you were suggesting.
I wrapped myself up in a box. I proposed on Christmas Eve. I proposed on Christmas Eve, and I built a giant cardboard box, and I got inside it on her front doorstep.
Presumably, you had to get someone else to tie the knot.
Yeah,
to the boat.
And then I made a lid, so it was kind of with the thing on.
Got it, yeah.
And then when she came over, I said, "A riches for life, not just for Christmas."
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Yeah.
And, with that.
And she didn't say no even then. Happily together for 30 years.
20 plus years later.
Yeah, well, I aged you there.
So,
very good. Okay, well, please report back in future on. We still want to know about your sponsorship deal with the butchers. See how that's going, and the storytelling around
still working on that,
the fire pit. That's good with the festoon lighting. So now we need to know about the cafe opening. Did that go well? And more importantly, did your mate get a yes or a no?
Yeah.
On the important proposal.
Have we got to buy hats for the wedding?
And I do like a fascinator.
Well, it'll be a bit hard for me, to be fair.
Okay, well, these days. Good. Okay, should we do a podcast then?
Yeah.
Great. Hello and welcome to another episode of the SME Growth Podcast from Wellmeadow. So yet more content, hopefully you'll find useful or interesting if you're an owner or a manager of an SME business. And mainly focused here in the UK, but probably applicable everywhere. So here we are again, Rich.
Yep.
Doing another one of our episodes in amongst helping all of our clients. It's been quite a busy week this week. So
it has been a busy week.
Squeeze these podcasts in, but this topic came up. I saw it in, I think I've seen this in a Harvard Business Review this week's one.
Very learned.
Oh, yes. So I was flicking through that. In fact, I got a couple of ideas. So they may be peppered into the next few weeks. And I think we've got a guest coming in next week as well. So it's all very exciting in SME podcast world. But anyway, where did we get to here? What episode number are we on?
Episode 131.
131. I haven't even thought about the darts finish, so we'll skip over that.
17, 20, double 10.
Oh, yeah. But you want to finish on a double 16, really, don't you? So.
Is that at the bottom or something, is it?
No, it's because if you miss it and get
you can double
16,
8.
you get double 8. Think about it.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay, so what was last week?
So last week was CRM Horror Stories, episode 130.
Yes.
So
Where
things
do
that can
people
go
go
wrong
wrong?
with implementation.
It's still amazing.
and
People
onboarding.
spend way more on the software than they bother actually either training their people, setting it up properly, and all that. So we had a rant about that, didn't we?
Rant.
So that was a ranty episode, 130.
Episode 129 was burnout. And
Yeah, burnout as a canary in the coal mine for something wrong with your business model or org structure.
yeah, I thought that was an interesting point on that, actually, isn't it? That it
Yeah.
could be business model related.
Yeah, it came up in a conversation with a client actually today.
Did it?
So yeah, it's
Okay.
it's interesting as sometimes these things all come together. It's relevance.
Is it life imitating art? Or art imitating life?
Are we art? Is this art?
It's
Oh my
it's a
goodness.
form of art.
Yeah.
Deconstruction.
What is
And
art?
then 128 was the RMF update reports on tariffs,
Yeah.
taxes,
And
Trump
tanks.
and tanks.
There was the economic forecast. There was a political commentary as well.
So
A lot of
there we
people
go.
come to our website for that, don't they? But a lot of traffic. Seen all the notifications coming in, people downloading his report, and hopefully listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so that's how we got here. So today's subject, as people will have possibly read on the on their podcast platform of choice,
Surprise.
not a surprise, is it? Is to do with remote work, and I guess we've got to tread partially carefully here.
Ooh, this could be a hot potato. This.
Is this a hot potato
This
that
could
we're
be the
treading on
one-
eggshells
This
with?
could be the one. This could be the one that gets us cancelled.
Oh, right. Yeah, we haven't managed to get cancelled yet. This would be an odd topic to do it on, given how many other more contentious topics we could choose. But I think we need to declare an interest here that from COVID onwards, we've been very office work focused, haven't we? We obviously had to work from home when we were told to, but where we can, we've tried to keep the face-to-face thing going. But obviously, we're swimming against the tide to some degree, and we know that especially for lots of large companies in the service sector, there's been a mass movement to the either complete remote working or some version of hybrid. And from the beginning, we were worried about that just from our own point of view, because we thought, how on earth do you solve the problems that that's going to create? Let alone, obviously, there's some benefits to it as well. And there's been some research done, hence why it was in the Harvard Business Review, and some professors in human resources from Wharton Business School and Harvard doing some work on this. And obviously now we've had a bit longer with people doing this type of working, so more data is available.
Yeah.
But there's a problem, because even though there are these difficulties with it, people are used to it and they don't want to come back. And the stats on how many people say that would say they would leave a job if they were told to go back to the office are horrific. They're really high. So organisations are now a bit stuck. Plus the fact they've sold off all the offices and there's no room for them.
Yeah, interesting though. I suppose there's more and more companies you see saying, right, we're bringing everybody back, maybe off the back of this type of research.
Yeah.
So you could end up with this sort of perfect storm potentially, couldn't you? Where you see companies saying, come back, employees saying, we don't want to come back, we're going to move. But if everybody moves to come back to the office.
Well, I think what's happening from what some of this research says is that the companies that are doing the come back to work mandates, it's not sticking. They're not getting it to work. And they're frightened to enforce it because then they're worried about the loss of key employees. So it's it's kind of a genie at the bottle moment. I wonder if we'll ever be able to get back to I don't think there'll ever be a norm of you going to work every day.
Yeah.
And some of this research says that's not even necessary. You know, the problems don't come about because people are part-time. Some of the hybrid works fine. It's when it gets too extreme.
Well, I do think though there is, we probably need to, like you say, caveat. We both live quite close to our office.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite easy.
We could walk in, couldn't we, Rich?
We could do if we didn't have
We could cycle in, couldn't
if
we,
we
Rich?
didn't have to drop children off at school and pick people up and things and have injured ankles.
Oh, you turned your ankle. Yes. It lasts all year. Okay, so we do live quite close to our office, within a mile and a half
Within walking
radius.
distance,
Yeah.
But I suppose if you were doing an hour commute on a train or drive, then working from home probably makes a lot more sense, right?
Absolutely.
So,
And we're lucky because we've got nice offices. Not everybody has. We've got a coffee machine. You were saying last week that your wife's work, they've turned off the coffee.
yeah, exactly.
That's a shocker, that, isn't it? So at least we've got a nice bean-to-cup machine here. We've got nice office space. It's air-conditioned. It's
Public sector. I see.
they're the ones that can't afford the coffee. Is it just private sector that have coffee?
They spend it all on lanyards. So
You do see a lot of yellow. What is it about that?
they love a lanyard.
You don't see that in the clients that we work with. I don't think there's any single client I work with who have lanyards. Maybe that big one up in York. But apart from that, it's not a small business thing, is it? Lanyard with your photo on the little card.
Don't even get me started.
I've never noticed that before.
The inefficiency. Talk about inefficiencies.
Here we go.
Working from
This
home.
is a whole podcast is going to go in a different direction now.
The inefficiencies are staggering.
Of working from home?
No, of public sector.
Oh, right, okay. Now,
From
you
what
talk
I've
about
seen.
getting cancelled, you're really going to... I don't think many public sector listen to our podcast.
It's just shocking. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
The illiteracy of some people and their computer skills. And this is probably
IT
across,
illiteracy.
Yeah, across
Yep.
private as well. But this, oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah, I think you get that in lots of places, to be fair.
But even some of the software.
It's the lack of... I guess because of their structures and their financial constraints, they are more constrained in what they can spend money on, whether it be a nicer computer even that works, or some of these online services, or even giving people admin rights to the machine. That's a big corporate problem as well, isn't it? You lock down these machines, you can't put USB sticks in them, you haven't got admin rights, you can't do stuff. And you just stop people being creative, which is what they want to do. They don't want people being creative, they want to do what they're told. Anyway, that is a different podcast. So come back. Rein it back in. Come back over here, Rich.
Dave and Rich Get Cancelled podcast.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to hear that, by the way, just give me a call.
We could record one and make it available on demand.
I take a knife to public sector inefficiency.
Yeah, well, be careful. We might get a gig one day. And then they'll look it up. So we've got, from the research, 7... I don't want to call them deadly sins. 7 major problems with hybrid and remote working. Some of which are blindingly obvious, but the research is now coming through to back it up. Some are a bit more subtle. So in true cliffhanger thing, we'll do the blindingly obvious ones first, and you'll have to wait to the end for some of the surprising ones. But yeah, no surprises to know that one of the big problems is around new hires. And I don't think just new hires, but young people as well, who tend to be new hires at the beginning, right? And this is exactly what we said right at the beginning. If everybody's working from home, you start a new job, people get it, don't they? What do you do?
Yeah.
How do I work out, how things work around here? They send you a box with all your freebies and your T-shirt and your mug
your
and
swag.
Your swag. So you feel part of the team, and then you have a big welcome message from everybody on Teams, and you maybe even join a meeting. But then you're sat there, the screen goes blank, and you think, well, I haven't got any tasks to do yet. There's no emails coming because I'm new. I don't know who are the movers and shakers around here. What's the vibe? What's the culture?
Do your other job though, don't you?
Your side hustle. It's when your job becomes the side hustle and you do something else more. So new hires struggling. So there's no one around to watch, sidle up to, ask. I've not been in that situation, and I would dread it. If anybody has that experience, please write in and we'll tell about it. So number 1 on the list in terms of what comes up on the research, big problem. It takes longer for people to get up to speed. So time to value for new hires. And I think churn rate as well, but that relates to some of the other problems too. But
I think it's sort of tied in as well. I'm just looking through to see whether or not it touches on any of the other ones. But I think as well there's in some industries where supervision has always been a big part of...
like regulated industries.
Particularly younger people, like legal firms, that type of thing.
Yeah.
That's how do you supervise work? How do you make sure that people are...
Yeah, I mean, you could see it when you're in an office full of people. You could see if someone's struggling, you just read body language, you see the fact that they're, maybe getting up and pacing up and down or going for tea, and you could tell when someone says, you're all right, do you need a hand? Oh, thank goodness you asked, I could do this. You don't see that if they're at home behind...
So here's a side quest on this. Recruitment. If you're recruiting somebody, should you do an online interview and an in-person interview if you're doing a hybrid role?
Yeah, true.
Because I would want to see... So a lot of...
How do they come across in both
settings? And, I guess you'd want to see if you were going into an office, where's the office, right?
Yep.
When all you can see is the background Zoom blur and screen or whatever.
Yeah, you don't know what you're signing up for.
Don't know what could be.
But the boot's on the employer's foot in the interview situation, usually, isn't it? So you're right, maybe the interviewee wouldn't think to ask. Something that maybe should be offered. Okay, so number 1 on our list of 7, it's back to that chart music again that I told you that you don't know about. Number 7, Laura. So new hires are struggling, and especially younger people, I worry that they're not learning the habits of a workplace that those of us that have been working for a long time just take for granted. But thinking back to my first job, you don't know that, and you're mimicking behaviours around you and working out how it all hangs together. So that's number 1. Go on then. Sort of related, but number 2, what have you got on your list?
So collaboration and learning suffer, which I suppose touches on what we just said about supervision and learning the culture and that type of thing. But, thinking about collaboration,
well, I guess and we found this as well, that when we were in the COVID period and doing more work from home, you switch the style of management to focusing on output rather than input, which means you're just measuring KPIs. And it's a shame, really, because people can often do very valuable work that doesn't contribute to their direct few KPIs. Yeah. They may be helping another struggling colleague, which is this collaboration point. Or they may have stumbled across a potential new idea, which doesn't help your KPIs today, but maybe has a payback years in the future or months in the future. And you're not motivating people to do that.
The first meeting post-COVID, face-to-face meeting, what struck me most about it was the bit after the meeting. So you were so used to being on a Zoom call with people that at the end of the Zoom call, it's like ping, 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 everyone's gone.
Off, yeah.
And you go from, business straight away to next meeting turned off.
Yeah.
And we stood in this meeting in the over in Telford, it was, with the people that we were helping at the time.
I don't know who's right. But carry on, I don't think it's important.
And we stood in the foyer for about 20 minutes having that kind of post-meeting chat where you get that kind of estuary of personal life and business.
Estuary of personal life? Oh, this is poetry.
A confluence of community. And
it's a sonic cathedral of sound. That was a Steve Wright, isn't it? I remember that. Go on, carry on. We've got this estuary of whatever.
The estuary of business but that's where things like collaboration start to happen, right? So you start to have these. Okay, the meeting was the meeting, but then afterwards you start thinking, oh, well, what about this? What about this?
Well, even though, what did you think about that meeting, which is the meeting with other stuff? But then did you say you were doing such and such last weekend? How did that go? Or did you have that other meeting last week with, it can be work-related and social.
Work-related, and it's all, a lot of businesses' relationships, isn't it?
It's kind of a meeting without a format, isn't it? Yeah. The right people in the right place, at the same place, talking to each other without a strict agenda. It means anyone has got the right to say, oh, what about? And did you do? And can I have a catch-up on? Yeah, okay.
So I think
that's the collaboration bit. And that focus on the KPIs means that when they're at home, they're not doing it. And without those experiences being physically together, then they're not.
And I think you lose some of that when you're on remote all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's hard. Not saying it can't be done. But
it's helped if you do at least a bit of hybrid and you're coming into the work some days. But even then, it can only work if you've got. There's this thing about anchor days, I think they call them, where you try and get everybody in on the same day. And even that has been proven to be a big challenge. So when companies have said back to work, at least can you all be in on whatever, Tuesday and Thursday or whatever that company chooses to do. They're even struggling with that. So what they're saying is that even if people are hybrid, unless you're actually in on the same day as your team, and maybe even the all hands day, there's no point coming in because you're just going to sit in a hutch, do your own thing. And for the bigger firms, they're saying that even when they get the people in on the anchor day, if they've shrunk their office spaces and everyone's on a hot desk or a hoteling type system for the desks, you may not be able to sit next to your team.
Yeah.
Because there's only, whatever it is, big organisation, 100 desks and you've got to find an empty one. So you might as well be at home because you're remote in the office.
Yeah.
So that's number 2. Number 3, you sort of touched on it there, meetings themselves online. Oh, I tell you, not just online, the hybrid meeting. I absolutely hate the hybrid meeting. Some people online, some people in the room. Talk about 2-tier system. You can see all the body language of the people in the room, shoot the glances, tap them on the shoulder and whatever. Yeah. Just indicate through body language you want to say something or you disapprove. On screen, there it's a second-class experience. And I'm doing things.
Particularly if people don't turn their cameras on as well.
Well, that is just rude, I think that is. But you're right, it happens. I think if you're just turning up to listen in to someone else's meeting, then it's okay. But if you're a participant, an active participant, then turn your flipping camera on. But the other problem with it is that some people tend to multitask. All right, we've all been guilty of it. You've got 2 screens. One's got the meeting on, the other one's got your inbox, and something pops in or whatever.
Do in my head now, it was like cut away to me like doing the ironing or something.
See, now if we were a good podcast, we'd have someone videoing that and putting it in as a little bit of B-roll.
I haven't ironed anything for years.
That shirt looks ironed.
People to do that for me.
Oh, you have people.
I don't.
Stuff.
Just hang it right.
So anyway. People do a bit of multitasking. The whole hybrid meeting thing, the fact that it sticks very much or should stick very much to only the matter at hand, it's not as easy to go off track a little bit and that sort of thing. And if people are distracted, you almost need another meeting afterwards to catch up with what it was said. The big benefit of it, though, is the AI note taker, online meetings. If you just got a load of people in and talking about it, and you didn't maybe keep up with it all as you're going through and you miss bits, the meeting summaries that can get produced now by AI are phenomenal. Not only does it help you cement what you just heard immediately afterwards, but you could look at it a week, a month, or a year later, and it means something.
I think I'd caveat this point by saying it probably depends on the type of meeting.
Yeah,
as to the effectiveness. I think actually there's actually a lot of productivity in being able to meet people online. The travel time that
if nothing else
used to do is massive. The fact that you can just jump on a call with someone somewhere else in the country in half an hour and resolve something is great. It just probably depends on the type of meeting that you're having.
No, I go for that. It's not. This isn't a rant against online meetings. They're incredibly useful. Saves all that travel time. Sometimes they are more focused. You get the meeting notes out of it all. I think it's sometimes easier to bring, certainly in a larger group, easier to bring other people in. But that was another point that the research made, that because online meetings can cope with a lot more people, you wouldn't necessarily opt for a 20-person meeting around the board table. You'd have people standing up because there weren't enough chairs, right? But online, you can do that. But it makes it then a lot harder to get value out of everybody. And that's an expensive meeting. But you also have a lot more meetings because you can't work as easily without, you can't just bump into someone in the corridor and have a quick chat or go over to their desk. So you end up setting it up as a meeting. So depending on the meeting, you're right. Some are less effective, some are more effective. Now, we're starting to get into some of the less obvious ones now. This next one intrigued me.
So the next one is the wrong people get promoted.
Yeah.
Because you're only looking at KPI outputs that we talked about before. Everything is measured by the KPIs and the output. So you could be the sort of the guru. You could be smashing all your targets.
Smash your targets, yeah.
And maybe and you see this maybe a lot in sales where.
Well, we've talked about it before. The best salesperson doesn't make the best sales manager.
Yeah. So
you're right. If all you're doing, or if you're focusing more on KPIs, because when people are remote working, you're worried more about output than, let's say, input, style. You're not going to be picking up on how much they help their colleagues, how much they just gel, the culture of a place. There's always someone in the office that's happy to organise the Christmas party and a load of people that just don't want to do it, right? But if that's not a KPI, then you lose that fabric. Who's going to say, let's go for a drink on Friday, or it's such and such's birthday, pass the birthday card around to sign?
Well, that was some interesting research. Remember when we were speaking to Duncan from Thriving, he was talking about his experience of team. Yeah. And how there's one person in the company was able to actually facilitate lots of other people doing their jobs. And when he went on holiday, they saw a massive decrease in team performance. Unexpected. Yeah. And it was just the fact.
And it wasn't because they were part of the workflow officially where that person was needed.
No, it's just they were able to unlock and help people in a way that.
In micro contributions. Yeah. It wasn't like you needed a whole meeting.
That probably wouldn't necessarily get picked up in a KPI.
So that was one of the ones that I think when you think about it, you can understand it, but it did come across as slightly more surprising that if you're going to be purely promoting people on their performance in the job below, that doesn't necessarily mean they're capable at the job above, and you haven't had a chance to see them as much. That was number 4. Number 5, the culture generally. We've touched upon it a bit about new hires because there's no way of observing what the norms are. So culture starts to drift then, because anybody that's joined since the hybrid or remote situation was in place will never have experienced that time when everybody was in 5 days a week. So the culture starts to, I suppose, get watered down. It's not watered down, it changes. It changes to more of the culture dominated by wherever most of the people are experiencing their work. So it drifts away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so then if you're trying to have a culture, bearing in mind that culture isn't down to what you write on the signs on the wall or, whatever, or put on the email footers. It's how people behave. It's leading by example. And if you don't see how your managers and your managers' managers are behaving, then how do you know what behaviours they're trying to model? You don't see them.
We've had to stop Naked Fridays, haven't we?
Again. I know we've got trouble. I try and keep a straight face when you throw these things out.
Just doesn't work.
Got me on that one.
Just doesn't work hybrid.
Just hybrid, sometimes naked, sometimes
not
dressed.
The same. You just can't tell.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't actually do that before somebody writes in.
Yeah, we just.
This is Friday.
Can we have a massive disclaimer at the end that nothing that we talk about should necessarily be taken? So culture does deteriorate just because you haven't got that sense of all being together and doing it all. So that one I think I could have guessed at. So that was number 5.
Yeah, I think you'd have to work. I think you can do it. And there are some great examples I've seen where remote businesses that have a good culture, but you have to be seriously intentional about how you foster that culture, take time out to have coffee breaks with each other, Zoom coffees, all that type of thing, which in the day-to-day it's not as easy. I think if you're going to have a remote hybrid business, to have good culture it's almost got to be up there as almost number one priority of strategic activity.
You work out how do we do that now differently, because it's not going to happen naturally.
Yeah.
Number 6. This is perhaps another one of those that's slightly more surprising.
Commitment weakens. So
there's something about the contract we all have with each other, isn't there? That whether I'm going to be loyal to you or help you or be honest and respect confidences and all those things. It's very much a looking someone in the eye, shaking their hand. It's a very human thing, which seems to either not quite disappear, but certainly water down when your relationship with someone is purely on screen.
I think it's what I would call relational capital. So I think when you interact with people, you start building up. You either create relational capital or you use relational capital, right, as you're meeting people. So if you offer to make someone a drink, or if you just ask them how their day's been, or if you ask them, how's the kids, what's going on with you, that sort of thing, you're building relational capital. That's a lot easier to do when you're face-to-face, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're sort of... But online, that's quite difficult. Again, you've got us back to that previous point about being intentional about it, and it's much more of a transaction. There's a danger of it becoming more transactional.
Yeah.
So you don't end up then having, and I think that when you've got that relational capital in a team, you strengthen commitment. When you don't have that, then you start to see those bonds break a little bit.
I think you're right. And you can anecdotally, you can just understand the fact that it would be easier for people to just decide to job hop and move on. They're not really that bothered about the effects of the people they're leaving behind, because they never built that strong relationship with them. No, I sort of get that. And it's one of those that maybe there'll be more research in years to come once we've had longer to analyse this. Bearing in mind that immediately after COVID, there was the mass resignation because nobody left during COVID. Then all the pent-up demand of moves happened. Then we've had economic sort of uncertainty that's held it back, and the job markets. So you almost need to leave it a decade and see how have people treated it over the longer term. So that was number 6. And then the last one, I think, is a concern, and we've covered this on several different podcasts around some of the mental health aspects of work anyway, and how we both treat it seriously with our colleagues and look after your own. We did the one the other day on burnout, didn't we? We were talking about. But the fact that people get a lot more socially isolated. If your day means getting up in your house, going to maybe a different room in your house, sitting in front of a screen all day, and coming back and you've just seen the cat. If you're a younger person, not in a relationship, or even if you are and you and your partner both go off to different rooms and work all day and then come back, that's all you see. You don't get to really see truly the colleagues that you're working with. And of course, a lot of people meet their future life partners at work. Can you imagine doing that on screen? Maybe that's just me being old.
Oh, things have moved on since we were on the market.
On the market. But they say there's a lot now of research where this is becoming a real concern for companies, that dealing with the fact that their employees, some of them, aren't coping so well, and they're getting lonelier, and that can both hamper their productivity.
I think this is a massive issue. I think it's going to be. I think that all the data points towards people becoming more isolated and lonely anyway. Yeah. The irony being that we're supposed to be more connected than ever. Yeah. So a whole podcast episode in that. Plenty to say on it.
Any subject I choose, Rich, there's plenty for you to say.
But no, I think this article was in this month's Harvard Business Review, wasn't it?
It was.
And there was another article in there, may have actually been related to this, but I don't think it was, around the use of AI. So the biggest use of ChatGPT or AI.
You asked me this in last week's podcast.
Did I?
2 weeks ago.
Well, I'm going to reiterate.
You said, what are the three biggest
things
of AI?
And the top one is companionship and therapy. Yeah. Which points to an epidemic of loneliness.
We don't get it from humans, so you're relying on a machine to do it. And maybe there's some areas where that's a good thing, but there's an awful lot where it isn't, surely. Where's our human connectedness?
It's not a replacement, I would say.
It's a substitute, a poor substitute. It's the ready meal of haute cuisine.
So, yeah.
Okay.
No, but it's a big issue, that.
So quick rundown then, because you've probably fallen asleep at some point through those last 7 points. New hires are struggling. Collaboration and learning suffers. Meetings not always are, but can be less effective. More people are, that sort of thing. The wrong people are getting promoted if all you do is rate them on their KPIs rather than their team working. The culture itself deteriorates because you're not able to lead by example and pull up on non-culture compliant behaviours. Commitment weakens because the human instinct is to want to be loyal to the people you're around, and on the screen puts a barrier for that. And people are feeling increasingly socially isolated if they don't have good support networks, social networks already. It doesn't affect everybody the same way. And there's, of course, steps that leaders can take around this, and that's possibly a whole new podcast in itself, but we've covered some of them as we've gone through in terms of some of the obvious things to do. But one of the key tips it came up with, certainly on the anchor days and trying to get people in, is if you're going to have rules, you've got to be prepared to enforce them. If you're not prepared to enforce them, don't have the rule and then just turn a blind eye for non-compliance. So if your rule is always turn cameras on in meetings, or if you've always got to be in on a Wednesday, only have that rule if you're prepared to almost go to the point of disciplining people if they don't. And nobody wants to do that, so be careful what you ask for.
It's parenting 101, that, isn't it?
Well, that's true. Question for you. Do parents make better managers? Or worse, because they don't really sleep or something. They're young children. Okay, that's
there we go. That's a whole other topic.
Good. Okay, so thanks for sharing those and going through those, and thanks to the Harvard Business Review again for prompting the topic. Good. Okay. So should we go back and work from home this afternoon?
Yeah.
On the back of that. I'll stand the side
Should have done
anyway.
some Riverside or something.
Well, no one knows. Maybe we're in a different room and we've just both set up our living rooms to look exactly the same as each other's.
That would be sad.
That would be a bit spooky. Thanks again for listening to another wacky episode of the SME Growth Podcast from Well Meadow. I hope some of that's useful for you. As ever, please tell your friends if it is, pass the word on, and in the meantime, good luck with your business.